Roomies.
Hello. Hey,
So,
Marlon.
hey, Marlon, how's it going?
Welcome in. Welcome in. Come on in the room.
Yes, absolutely. Um, I am Lindsay. This is Maria, and we are Roomies Review the Movies, where we are old college roommates. And I have a degree in film, and Maria has been doing reviews on films for the past 20 some odd years. And we are here today to review 2019's TV One original film, The Bobby DeBarge Story.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. Bobby DeBarge is of the famous DeBarge family. And he was a member of the R&B group Switch. And yeah, um, he was definitely a great vocalist and musician.
Yeah.
And this movie chronicles his life. It is not a cradle to the grave movie. It pretty much goes from after Switch hit big success to the end of his life. But yeah, so Maria, first time viewing this movie,
Yeah.
she didn't really know too much about the DeBarge family
No.
before this movie. So this is going to be fun reviewing.
So I'm very familiar with the music and all. I remember, hearing it growing up and everything because, like, they're talking about 1985. So I'm like, maybe two.
Hmm.
But growing up, I hear the music all the time and then also hear them being sampled all the time.
Yes, yes, they are sampled heavily,
Yeah.
heavily. But yeah, their story is their story is a story.
It's tragic.
Yeah, it's very very tragic. Um, but we don't. I mean, outside of a couple of things, especially back then, like they didn't know too much of nothing. Like the general public didn't know too much of nothing about
Yeah.
their story and how tragic it was um, until like the past 20, maybe 30 years.
Hmm.
So yeah, so Bobby DeBarge, he's one of the older uh, of the DeBarge kids. Um,
There's 10 of them.
there's 10. Yes.
He didn't
So
even get off that woman
man, man,
alone.
Lord have mercy. So um out of the out of the 10, I want to say like 6 of them were
Mhm.
in the music, or yeah, in the music business. Probably like 6 or 7 were in the music business. Um but they are biracial kids. Their mom was black, their dad was white. And yeah, their dad was ex-military, and he was a very 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 abusive
Yes.
man. He was abusive physically, emotionally, and sexually.
Hmm.
He abused the kids as well as his wife.
Yep.
Yeah. So
And then nobody would do anything about it because he's a white
nobody,
man.
exactly,
And nobody would
exactly,
believe his wife because she's a black woman.
right, right,
So
and
it sounds kind of like to me he created his own perfect situation.
yeah, yeah. The mom used to make excuses for him. I believe she thought for real, that it was like partly her fault
Yeah.
because of the fact that he did go on ahead and marry a black woman
Mhm.
when he didn't have to.
Right.
Um,
Like he did her a favor.
Right, right. And so she she I guess she thought that that was par for the course. You know what I mean? But
In
she
the
also
movie, she says, like, well, it was so hard for him being married to me. Like, please.
yeah, yeah.
So that's why he had to abuse everybody?
Right, right. And then like she knew about the abuse. They came to her, told her about the abuse and whatnot, but she was so scared, and
Mhm. And then
taking
also
the
she had
guilt.
2 kids.
Right, and she had 10 kids, and yeah,
How's she gonna leave with 10 kids? This is all part of an abuser's plan, y'all.
right,
Like,
right, right. But the thing is with them is that they she eventually left him,
yeah.
and then she married like a Hispanic man or Mexican man, something like that. And people thought that the DeBarge kids were Hispanic.
I can see that
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
yeah, but nope, nope, they're just biracial,
it's biracial.
just plain old black and white. But yeah, so as far as the movie is concerned, oh, we have a comment from Marlon. He says the father bamboozled their mother when they had their first conversation over the phone. The mother met a black man by the same name as the father, who was also in the military.
What?
Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, so he was just deceptive from the jump.
Mm.
There's a horrible,
I'm
horrible
sorry.
individual.
Yeah.
But we start the movie off with Bobby on his deathbed, and the father is coming to the hospice facility, and we actually start with the father getting out the car, smoking a cigarette, and we don't know who he is at first. We just see a white man.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes into the hospice facility and he's walking down the hallway, and we see all these biracial kids or whatever, and they're all looking at him with
Nobody
disgust
likes this
and
man.
fear. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, and he's walking through them, not speaking to them, having his head down or whatever, and then he eventually goes into the room where Bobby is on his deathbed, and yeah, that's how we start this fun-filled show. So, Marlon says at the end of the conversation, the father revealed that he was a white man who loved black women.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
He had a warped sense of love.
Love to torture.
Yeah, probably had a fetish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Want to have his own little plantations. Was it really?
yeah,
That's really what it
pretty
gave.
much, pretty much. So yeah, so yeah, so we start off the movie with that scene or whatnot. So then we have another scene where they're playing I Call Your Name.
Mm-hmm.
They're singing it live and what have you. And, you know, it brings up happier times because who doesn't love I Call Your Name?
Yes.
So then,
All the music is great.
yes. I haven't heard a bad song from that family
Yeah.
at all,
And they're played all the time at every function. Like,
Yes. So I was in Cabo at the beginning of May and we were on a yacht and they played that song. Like I'm telling you, I was saying to Maria before we started, I'm like, you have never lived until you see your parents two-step to I Call Your Name.
yeah.
Like it's awesome. And then the song is like 8 minutes long. So
Mm-hmm.
so yeah.
Version.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So then after that, the fellas in the group and their manager have a meeting because Bobby is full of himself at this point,
Yeah.
and it is exuding. They are annoyed, and on top of that, Bobby is trying to get his family to come out there because they are signed to Motown, and he wants his family to come out to get signed to Motown as well. But they've been kind of blowing him off and whatnot. And this was around the time when Jermaine Jackson was an executive at Motown, and he signed Switch. So they was trying to get him to sign the DeBarge kids as well. And he was kind of blowing them off and whatnot. But the manager was just like, if I got to pay for them to come out myself, I'll do it. But one of the other members that's played by Lloyd, he's over it. He is annoyed.
Yeah, because Bobby is acting like, he's this big rock star. Everybody can wait on him, And then he gets down there and he's got an attitude with their very reasonable requests.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can also see, like, he doesn't like himself. And he hates how it affects other people, which just makes him feel worse.
Yeah.
It's kind of this never-ending cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lloyd is playing Gregory Williams, which was the founding member of Switch. So um yeah, yeah. I mean, they were just pretty much over Bobby and his attitude. Even his brother,
Yeah.
that's a part of Switch. He's over the attitude too, but he's trying to make nice with it and whatnot, trying to keep the peace. But Bobby on top of that is a functioning addict. Like,
Barely.
yeah, barely is right. But yeah, we kind of catch him at the height of his addiction.
Mm.
So yeah, it's I mean, it's pretty bad. So
Yeah.
so yeah, they eventually, get the DeBarge kids out there. When they get the DeBarge kids out there, you know, um, Greg at that point is really over it, because he already know, like, this is gonna be the beginning of the end of Switch.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
he had a when the kids came to the studio or whatever, and he saw them, he made a comment, and then another group member of Switch was just like, what, like, what's the deal with them or whatnot. And he was just like, they can sing. So
Like they can all sing.
they can all sing. Yeah. So, and he was just like, and the guy was like, well, how many of them can sing? And he was like, well, if you count the ones at home, all of them. So
All
yeah,
10.
all 10. So yeah, this actually, you would think that he would, transition over to Switch. I mean, transition over to DeBarge, because DeBarge ended up getting signed
Mm-hmm.
after Barry Gordy saw them in a showcase.
Barry Gordy is played by Big Boy.
Yep, he's played by Big Boy, and which which I totally forgot he was in this movie. Totally forgot, but he's only in it for like 2 scenes. So
Yeah.
yeah. But they got signed by Barry Gordy and whatnot. So you would have thought that he would have transitioned over to DeBarge, but no, Motown offered him his own record deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what ultimately ended Switch. So
Yeah, because he's big, he's a star. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Greg.
right,
They come to see me.
right. The ladies are saying my name.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Marlon says the mother set boundaries with him by not telling him where she lived.
And
She
he
showed
crossed.
right. She showed up to her house announced while she wasn't home. He was hugging and kissing her mother. Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was terrible. So, yeah, they offered him his own record deal, and although Greg was mad initially, then he started thinking about it. He was just like, I don't have to babysit a drug addict no more. So yeah. Um. So yeah. So while he was, trying to um start the process
Mm-hmm.
his of his recording his album, he is very much strung out.
Yeah.
He comes if he comes to the studio, it's late. Then he leaves. Then he cusses people out. Then they're pretty much over it.
Right.
So
Studio time is expensive.
yes, it's very expensive. So the engineer, after a few times or whatever, he called Jermaine and he pretty much told on him like, this
Yeah.
is some BS. And Jermaine was just like, well, cut it. Cut the studio time today and just send me what y'all got. And the engineer was like, well, that's the problem. We don't have nothing because he can't get it together. So Marlon says her family and friends saw red flags. The mother took it as them hating. His mother was domineering and racist.
I'm not surprised.
Right, right.
None
And
of that surprises me.
right. She probably
Yeah.
turned her back on her son because he was messing with a black woman openly. You know what I
Got
mean?
married to her, probably just to
Right.
piss them off.
Right. So
And
yeah.
she's 17, so of course, she thinks,
Mm-hmm.
her
Right.
frontal lobe ain't developed. Like,
Right. But and then on top of that, in those times, if a man is pretty much gonna like a white man is pretty much gonna marry a black woman openly, she probably is thinking like that's partly her fault what he's going through.
yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the layers of self-hate are
Yeah.
really.
Absolutely.
And then she's growing up in this very conservative Pentecostal church
Yeah.
where she takes all of her kids to and everything. And of course, they're not going to encourage them to divorce or anything like that.
Yeah. Right. And then there's that. Marlon says his mother called the mother and told her that she could not marry her son because he had severe mental problems.
Okay. I don't know that I believe her, but okay.
I mean, he most definitely has severe mental problems,
and emotional problems, but I don't trust her. So
right. She's racist. She's gonna say anything to me to get me to not marry your son.
Right.
So yeah.
Oh, also Bobby was trying to date LaToya around this time.
Yeah. Oh, not trying. They did.
Well, yeah. Trying to get back with her, I guess.
Right. So yeah, so Bobby was with LaToya, and then Bobby introduced his brother to
James
which one
to
was it?
Janet.
James? Yeah, James to Janet. And so but Bobby was the bad boy or whatnot. He was very promiscuous, because it came with the lifestyle and what have you. So Jermaine was not in the building for them being together. And not only did he eventually lose his recording contract, but he lost LaToya. And that message was sent to him via Jermaine. So yeah, and simultaneously DeBarge is recording. They were putting music out and everybody was loving it. So and then the other brother that was in Switch, he went on ahead and he joined DeBarge. So yeah, so now Bobby is just out here, strung out
on his own,
and everybody's trying to tell him that he need to get cleaned up and whatnot. He didn't necessarily do that until he got with his wife.
I don't know that he even did that then.
Well, I mean, he got well.
I just don't know because the movie doesn't tell me.
Right. I mean, it's assumed.
Is it?
Got better
because
he started looking
the way
better.
The movie works.
Right. The movie is
the way the movie it plays out. So he meets this woman, and I swear she's played by two different actresses in this movie. Sometimes she don't look the same. So he meets this woman. They talk. They have this like dating montage, and he's always got a drink in his hand. And if they're both drinking, he's always got more in his glass than she does. And next thing you know, she's pregnant, but it looks like a different actress. So I was really confused. And then they have the baby, and then he and his brother are doing drug trafficking.
Yeah.
Very suddenly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just don't know. I couldn't even guess because there's no hints really.
Yeah, the only real hint
you would just hope.
Right. The only real hint that I got was that he looked cleaner.
Yeah, he looked cleaner, right?
Yeah. So I was just like,
he's at least showering now,
Right. He ain't as erratic as he was. He seemed more mellowed out. So I just assumed. So I hope my assumption is correct. But because something happened. But yeah, he went from being this superstar to now he's a drug trafficker.
And I'm still not clear how he got into that.
No, we're not.
Because there's a difference between being a user and then getting into trafficking. Like
this montage absolutely did not make sense.
It did nothing. Because at first I was like, is this drugs? because I wasn't even sure.
Yeah, right.
And like,
right.
what is he doing? Why is his brother helping him? Like,
yeah,
none of it makes sense.
Right. Yeah. So,
but there is a scene also between him and his brother James, because James really, really doesn't like him, and he even tells him, don't touch me. I don't want you to touch me. And Bobby seems very, very confused by this reaction and behavior. And they finally have a confrontation where James is like, "You abused me, you tormented me," and like in the Unsung episode, he was like, he tried to kill me several times.
Yeah.
Because his father would dote on him.
And yeah, he was the favorite out of the bunch.
The favorite for whatever reason. Abusers don't have reasons; they just do shit.
Right.
So, he said in the Unsung, like, I remember having like extra toys and stuff like that. So he's like, I knew I was his pick, but he paid for it with Bobby trying to kill him all the time because Bobby just wanted to be loved too.
Yeah. So he was taking it out on James, which is extremely unfortunate.
Yeah.
So Marlon says his mother cheated on his father. His younger sister died on his watch due to inhaling rat poison. His mother blamed him for his sister's death.
Wow. Why did they not cover any of this?
Yeah. Bobby got into drug trafficking because the music business had washed their hands with him.
No, I mean, I get that, but
yeah,
like,
that part makes sense. But
yeah,
it's like,
what
you
were
don't just wake up one
we
day
have no
and become
idea.
a trafficker, right?
Like, the way it's portrayed is like he just woke up one day and was taping bricks to his brother's body for like.
Right. So James was the father's favorite child because he resembled the father the most.
That's a lie. He's better looking than his father.
Yeah, he was.
Also, he's very pretty in this movie. Like, they gave him this super nice silk press and everything.
Yeah,
and like they're having this argument, so they're doing a lot of head turning and stuff, and you see it just like bouncing.
Right, just like,
and I was like, oh,
yeah.
I didn't get is this a wig or did they really like
No, they're wigs and they're all bad.
That one was the best one for sure.
It was the best of the bad.
It was the best for the movie.
Right.
It moved really well. It looked like it might actually be human hair. I don't know.
That's crazy if they spent the money on James's wig and said, forget everybody else.
James brought his own wig.
Probably. Like, who's playing him? You know who's playing James?
No.
That's Adrian Marcel. I'm
not sure. I know who that is by the name.
Oh, okay. We'll talk after. Yeah, Adrian Marcel is dope. But you've heard his music, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, they got into drug trafficking, because they woke up with a bunch of keys that they had to get across the country, but whatever. They tried to get on a plane and they got arrested. So
immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. So
the movie makes it look like it's their first time. So they just failed immediately.
Right, because they were like, oh, this is gonna work. This is gonna work, So yeah. Yeah. So the brother is the one that had it taped to his body, and he's the one that got picked up at the airport. So then they came to the house and got Bobby. And Bobby knew they was coming. So
why was he still there
with his wife and
baby?
So anything could have happened, but yeah. So he gets.
I love he tried to go out the back.
Yeah,
like they wouldn't be.
Like they wouldn't be back there. Yeah,
you could already hear and see the sirens. I don't know where
the helicopter and everything. But hey, this is their first time.
Sure.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
Right. True. So yeah. So he gets arrested and he goes to prison. I believe he went to prison for 5 years. They don't tell you in the movie, but while he's in prison, of course he's recognized. Of course his family is top of the top at that point. And he gets pretty much bullied because of that. And this person
he was ready to fight. Like he snapped that mop immediately. He did not wait.
Right. But one fact that they did not discuss in the movie is that growing up, because of them being biracial, they had to fight all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the DeBarge people got hands. Okay.
Yeah. In the more towards the beginning of the movie where they're having that meeting, Greg stands up at one point because they're about, it looks like they might be fighting with Bobby, right? And he stands up and talks to the guy from Switch, and he's like, "Don't let the light skin mess fool you now."
You're right.
And I had to think about it for a little bit, but I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Yeah, right. You know, that was the thing. So yeah. Yeah, so when he gets into this fight or whatever with this one person that was bullying him, you know, he snapped the mop and started beating him with the stick. And when that happens, that's when the other people, you know, start jumping him. Yeah. And they beat him up pretty good. And so when he was in the infirmary, yeah, when he was in the infirmary,
were his 9 other siblings there? I'm sure it wouldn't have been an issue. You know?
Right. But you know, they have to all be incarcerated for that to happen.
Right. We don't want that.
No. We don't want that. No. So yeah, while he was in the infirmary or whatever, he was coughing real bad. And so the doctor was like, you know, let me run some more tests on you and see, because that cough ain't sounding too good.
He wasn't covering his mouth.
Nothing.
So I was like, oh.
Yeah, right. Especially us watching it post-COVID, you're like, really not. So
you ever seen that TikTok where it's a doctor or a nurse and like they have a patient who's coughing, and every cough they get on more and more PPE and also get further out the room?
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
They remind me of that.
Yeah, right.
At some point the doctor was like, okay,
right,
you're coughing on me.
Right, like excuse you, you know. So yeah, so he ran some more tests and he came back HIV positive, unfortunately. And so yeah, he tells his wife while he's in there that he is HIV positive. And you know, he's not taking it well, because like especially in the 90s, who would?
Yeah, you know? And we're talking early mid 90s, like it's not.
Yeah,
you know, and particularly considering like how advanced it might have been or whatever.
Yeah, it was definitely still a thing that people was dying from. So yeah, he didn't do too well with the news, but he eventually got out. And when he got out, you know,
he went straight to the hospital, I guess.
Yeah, the way the movie portrays it, absolutely.
Right. Although it was 2 years later.
Right. So yeah.
Also, he had 2 sons.
Yeah, he had 2 sons. And I'm like, okay, because I was confused with the dates. I'm like, because I believe these sons were born in the 90s, but he was in jail in the 90s. So I'm like, were they doing conjugal visits?
They were born before, right, like at the end of the 1980s.
Okay.
Because when we see her pregnant, it says 1987.
Okay. Because I was confused. I was like, wait, were they doing conjugal visits? Like, what's going on? But yeah, Bobby was a heroin addict, so more than likely he contracted it with a bloody needle or a dirty needle.
Or it could have been sex, either or. Cause
I mean, it could have, most definitely. Because you know he passed away in 1995, which is the same year that Eazy-E passed away. So the same thing. So yeah. So yeah, that is the Bobby DeBarge movie.
Yes.
So Marlon says when the mother was pregnant with James, the father returned home all beat up due to trying to molest his side chick's daughter.
Of course.
The side chick's brother and cousins put hands and feet on him. Rightfully so. Nasty fucker. But
yeah, looking at the unsung, the mom was saying like he didn't stop until she had some cousins come and beat him up.
And that's horrible.
I was like, why did it take that long?
Right. And
maybe she wouldn't let them up there before. I don't know.
Yeah. And Bunny said it was happening to her from like 7 to 13. And the movie there was a scene, like a flashback scene, where she's confronting him at the dinner table in front of some of the kids about what he's doing to Bunny. And she was saying the things that he was doing, and one of them was having sex. And as soon as she said that, that's when he smacked the shit out of her. So it's just, that's horrible. That is so horrible. So he was having full on gross. Like,
it doesn't even matter. Like, I mean,
yeah,
that's your daughter. What are you doing?
Yeah,
child. What are you doing?
Mm-mm-mm.
Any of that is too much.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it's just, whew, Jesus.
Like, these kids were really tortured.
Yeah, right. And the other kids knew. So there was another scene when the mom and Bobby have a conversation about it, and you can tell that this stuff had been torturing Bobby.
And he's like angry with her.
Yeah, because she knew. Yeah. And he was like, you knew what he was doing to me. You knew what he was doing to Bunny. We told you. You did nothing. That's horrible.
She was like, well, I left eventually. Give me that. I was like, girl, are you serious right now?
Right. Like, yeah. I can't. Oh, so yeah.
But she was also a victim of his abuse. So
she was absolutely a victim of his abuse. But it's just like, it's one thing for you to beat me, it's another thing for you to beat and molest my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
I'm just wondering. Well, Marlon knows more about this than I think both of us.
Yeah, true.
I wonder about like what kind of messages she was getting, like what kind of support was she receiving?
Well, she talked about the church, but I feel like the church was like an escape, like a temporary escape. So I'm not sure if the people in the church knew exactly what was going on, but yeah, that's as far as I know.
That's probably another reason why she kept him in the church so often and keep him away from him.
Right. So Marlon says the mother had plenty of opportunities to leave the father because the father was never home due to being on the road due to his truck driving job. He would be gone months at a time.
The only thing about that is she still has 10 kids.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So to find housing and food for all 10 kids outside of this, it's going to be a challenge, period.
Right. And then you want to try to keep them together, because, I mean, who would want to split up their kids? And then you don't know. I mean, you can't keep your eyes on all your kids if they split up, and then you split them up with people you don't know what's going on in their house. It could be another abusive situation. And
especially with all that stuff they're going through, I can imagine.
Yeah,
they don't want to be separated.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it was a lot to consider. If I found out that my spouse was beating and molesting my kids, I don't care. I would have figured out a way to leave.
Yeah, I'm poisoning you. Actually.
Right.
Take this coffee on your next truck trip. How about
that? Right. Because I'm doing everything to your food. So yeah. But yeah. So outside of the painful story that this tells, as far as the movie itself, it is a god-awful movie. Oh my god, it is terrible.
Did you want to go ahead and rate it then?
No, we can talk about it. How did you feel watching the movie? Because I saw your Blue Sky post. So,
what's frustrating is it has so many chances. It has so many points where it's actually really, really good, like the performances, and then the information storytelling falls off in strange places. The costuming I don't know, the special effects. I don't understand why they were even necessary.
Yeah.
Just confusing. A lot of confusing choices. You can tell the actors are really trying their best, and they do a lot of good work. The guy who's playing Bobby, I recognized him from Greenleaf.
Yeah.
And he does really well with Bobby's dramatic scenes, and like displaying Bobby's pain and stuff like that. Like you really feel it, you believe it, you can see the torture, soul inside, kind of thing, you know. But when he's acting high, it can get comedic.
Yeah.
And that's not what they're going for.
I think because of the fact that we watched him on Greenleaf be an abusive boyfriend. He does anger well. He does anger well, but yeah, you got to get past the horrible wigs. You got to get past the bad dialogue. Like, if you get past that, then you're okay.
Yeah. The dialogue is not, the dialogue is not great, but it's the emotionality between the actors that works when they're having like these one-on-one scenes together. So like that scene with him and James. Not all those lines are great, but it works well, and the feeling is communicated very well of what they're both experiencing and how it's led to this moment.
Yeah. So
like the people they picked to look like, so these the actress for LaToya Jackson and the actress for Janet Jackson. The actress for LaToya did try to do the voice, but the actress for Janet did not.
Like, no, she did. It was way off. Marlon says Rashawn Fagan, the actor who played Bobby DeBarge, is the son of Roy Fagan, Bird from the Five Heartbeats. Yeah, I told you that last week. And he said, I remember being excited for this biopic. I came only early and watched the premiere and felt empty. TV1 had the audacity to do an encore.
An encore, yeah. There's just like clearly so much stuff missing.
Yes. Yeah. That I feel like a lot of people were anticipating this story because you heard bits and pieces and what have you, and then the unsung and whatnot. So a lot of people were anticipating this story, and we felt like it was some bullshit. Like, it just was not. It wasn't ironed out well. And then the director apparently was somebody that they grew up with. So yeah. So Marlon says the biopic is in the same tier as Man in the Mirror, the Michael Jackson story, the Aaliyah story, and the Nina Simone story. Now, I think the Nina Simone story is worse.
I generally don't watch a lot of biopics, especially if they're on TV. Like, for some reason, it seems to be a thing that's hard to do musical biopics, especially. Have you ever, like, what's a good one? The only good one I can think of is what was the boy group from the 80s?
The boy group from the 80s?
Yeah, with Bobby Brown.
Oh, New Edition.
Yeah, that one was good, but it was
New Edition was good. The Bobby Brown story was good. And the Jacksons, American Dream, that was good.
Oh, I haven't seen
but
that
they
forever.
but those three were miniseries.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you had more time to iron out issues, instead of just going right past them, making a movie and stuff. And like TV1 has done several biopics, and they all aren't that good. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's the budget. I don't know if it's the time or what, but it just seems like it's very rushed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And especially a story like his, you can't rush that.
Yeah, it's complicated, you gotta give, and also like we don't know if he ever made any changes or anything.
Yeah. Let's see. Marlon says it was produced by Bobby's widow and son. Yeah. Yeah, it was. And he says the good biopics are The Jackson's American Dream, What's Love Got to Do with It, The Temptations, Ray, The New Edition Story, and The Bobby Brown Story. Yeah, The Temptations was good too. But
I don't think I saw
Ray,
that one. Ray was good.
Ray was good, and What's Love Got to Do with It was good as well.
Yeah,
Both of those were theatrical releases though. So the Jackson's American Dream, New Edition, and Bobby Brown, they were made for TV, but they were miniseries. So
and those usually do a lot better.
Yeah, miniseries do a lot better. But yeah. So let's get to our ratings. Let's see. Our rating system is 1 movie real trash AF, 2 it exists, 3 entertaining, 4 great, 5 a true classic. Maria, what say you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a 1.5.
Yeah, I give it a 1.5 as well.
The actors did try, and they gave a good effort. When they have the chance to be in a scene and like breathe.
Right. So yeah,
but like it's just kind of like they don't, like you're saying, like they don't do dates and things like that, which is just very strange. We get I think we get the year he's dying when it first comes on, and then we get like 1987, and I'm like, what? Okay,
right. Like if we're gonna do dates, let's do dates, especially when you're jumping all around.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So yeah, it just yeah. For all the reasons we have mentioned, we give it both a 1.5.
So, and I have chosen the movie for next time.
Yes,
it's going to be The Photograph. Came out in 2020.
That's with Issa Rae and
Lakeith Stanfield.
Yes,
him.
I love Lakeith.
It's on Peacock.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So he said the biopic was a cash grab. I can believe
you're right about that, but I do wonder how much cash did they actually grab.
Good question. So Maria, where can we find you?
You can find me online pretty much on Blue Sky at Valor More Dollars. That's VALARMOR dollars.bsky.social. I'm also on another podcast called Nerdgasm Noir with 5 other Black women where we talk about nerdy, geeky, sci-fi, tech, pop culture stuff. So you can join us there too. And where can they find you, Lindsay?
You can find me everywhere at L_Ranelle. That's L_RANELLE. And on my other podcast, The Ish We Talk, where me and my cousin talk about a variety of topics.
Hot topics.
Yes. And we are definitely talking about Diddy. So, yeah. All right. So this was episode 81 of Roomies Review the Movies, and we will see you guys for episode 82.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Subscribe, click the bell so you know we're going live. We'd love to talk to y'all. Marlon here, like, listen, I love all the facts you're dropping here. I love it.
Absolutely. And don't forget to share as well.
Yes.
All right.
Bye. Bye.